RMD call. So when you get this call, go ahead and put OK there so we can show you we're live streaming. All right, we're live streaming it. We're excited to be on YouTube. Welcome. This is Jody Humphrey in Atlanta, Georgia, here with my partner, Kimberly Odie, and Zach. Odie is somewhere, but she's here in Atlanta. We were working together here today. So got a great program lined up tonight. It's all about growth. It's all about the best money-making position in the country. How would you like to know you can give yourself a $3,000 a month raise just doing what you're already doing? How's that working out for you? That's pretty. What percentage raise would it be if you made extra $33,000 a year on your job right now? For a lot of people, that may be a 50% raise. That would definitely be a 30% raise. So that's pretty awesome. That's what we're announcing today to make sure you understand the power of that. But Hubert Humphrey, our fearless leader, has given us a great challenge for growth. And he invited our team leaders to be on a call this upcoming Monday on this same Zoom at 12 o'clock. You're going to be getting, in a reminder to you, but only opt into this call if you have 100% builder's mindset. This call is, I'm giving it with a warning. We don't even want you there if you're scared to think big. And this is about thinking big, and it's about what works. It's about, great leaders want to be coached. Great people want to be disciplined. To be honest with you, if you watch in sports, there's always those two kinds of players, one that want to be coached and the others that are just, they're mama boys or whatever, and they don't want to be coached. We want the winner. So it will be on this Zoom call. You are invited only if you are 100% committed to a growth mentality. And that same thing with your teammates. Put that word out. It's going to be one for the ages. I can't wait, because I'm all about quantum growth for myself. And I know that we have many leaders on here and all throughout our whole team that want to be part of that. So get your teammates on, send your Zooms out to make sure that they're all on the call as we get ready to rock and roll now. We're going to talk tonight about making money, but we're also going to talk about human nature. Okay. One of the things that we find is that we're always in a constant battle of human nature, and people come into the business and they go through a process where they're so excited about what we do, and they're all excited about Hubert, and they're all excited about, oh my gosh, I'm with this guy who built Primerica, and I'm with this guy who did it after he was almost 40. He was just like me. He tried other businesses. And then we went out and watched what he went out and he built WFG. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to go. And then everyone proceeds to try to find out another way to do it other than the way that worked. It's just astounding to me to see how that works and how people continuously do that. Now, they don't do it on purpose. I'm sure God's pretty frustrated with us sometimes when he looks down at us from wherever he is, realizing that why don't we do all the right things? Why don't we follow the manuals? And in business, I know that can be frustrating too here. But guys, I'm asking you to adjust until you're out earning your upline. This is a big point. I never actually said this, but until you out earn your upline, everything they say should be gold. And even then there should be respect toward them going forward. But here you've got the person that people are flying around the country just to have an hour's worth of time with this guy. You have the person who we are begging to have time with that is now saying he's going to spend an hour with our leadership team on what it takes to have great growth. That's what we want to make sure that you guys have as you go forward. And that is this upcoming Monday. We're not going to beg you. We're not going to chase you down. We're going to send out one more email to say that you're invited on it. But it is one that you absolutely want to be involved in. Now then, we're going to talk a little bit about human nature as we go into what is a base shop. Everything about when you start in this business, and this includes every person on this team, every person on this call, myself included. I got a pretty good team, right? I mean, you would think getting a little over out of Rocky and being able to have all of you guys on my team, I got a pretty good thing going, right? I'm treating this as if I am brand new. I am treating this as if nothing else is out there. Okay, that's what I'm out to do. Okay, so let's talk about human nature for a minute. Okay, there are a few things That, and I want you to feel like you're amongst friends, because everybody, if somebody came into this business and no one taught them the leadership format system. See, the leadership format system is as much about the filters as it is about the other side. It's about what not to do as much as it is what is about to do. And it is counterintuitive, and it's important that you understand the leadership format system was written after 1 million people had been recruited into Hubert's hierarchy. That means he had about seen it all. Now, once you've had 1 million people go through your hierarchy, if you think you know something that may be better, then we'll come have a conversation with you. But up until that day, you need to listen, okay? We all do. Every one of us do, okay? And so I want to give you some things that are natural inclinations that people jump the wrong way to. A great meeting yesterday, or whatever day it was, a couple of days in a row with Debbie, who I think the world of, Debbie Worthington. We met on Sunday morning, had a great meeting, and then yesterday met for a couple of hours and had a great session. But in it, we were talking about human nature, and sometimes you feel like if you don't do things, and sometimes you feel like if you screw up, you feel like you're the first one to do it. Well, guys, none of us are, okay? So here are the things to watch out for on the human nature side, okay? If no one told you better, you would think that when you joined the company, that the first thing you needed to do was go get licensed and learn every product. That would be a natural thing for a person to think, because they're like, I'm in a new business, I don't want to look stupid, so I need to go get licensed fast, and I need to go learn everything about all these products, okay? Do you need to learn them? Do you need to get licensed pretty quick? Yes, but that is not, as you know from the system, the most important thing. But that's one thing where people make a wrong jump, a conclusion, okay? Another one, what's another one? What do you guys think may be another one that people jump to?
Oh, I don't know anybody.
I don't know anybody, or a lot of times people think that they'll, one, that is a great one, is that they don't know anybody, okay? What are some other ones?
If I learn more, I'll do more.
If you learn more, I'll do more. Okay, that's a major myth 101, right? You know, and we're gonna talk about these in just a second. The other one is that everyone thinks that quality is more important than quantity, when the answer is both. Understand that we do want a quantity of quality people, okay? And I will tell you this, you know, I'm going to give you a couple of examples in a little while of some people through history that have really helped me really understand this system. But let's go back a little bit talking about the system, okay? And I'm not going to answer all these because we don't have time to go into all the answers on these about human nature. But Tony Robbins, and I'm sure he didn't come up with it, but the first time I ever saw it was he had the success cycle. And he wrote up on a board, he talked about belief, action, results, and potential. And he asked the group, which one comes first? And most people answered belief. They're like, hey, if my belief level is here, if I believe in this, if I totally just go believe in this, it's going to lead me to action, and then action is going to give me results, and results will give me better potential. And that is the answer that human nature would give you. But the answer is action. Because many of you have proven that belief does not necessarily mean you're going to go be successful. I don't believe in this business more than any of you. That's an insult to you to say that I believe in it more than you. I don't. You know, I believe in it and you believe in it. This is more of a compliment to your belief than it is anything. And you can believe, it's just like going to church, man. You can be going to church on Sunday and you can be living your life and believe on Sunday and be horrible from Sunday to Sunday. But it doesn't mean you didn't believe. It just means you didn't have the discipline to go execute your life in a way that you heard on Sunday. Same thing in the business, okay? The business is about action. I'll give you an example. The first two people I see on here on my Hollywood Squares thing is Debbie and James. So let me just give you an example. Let's say that Debbie believed in the business to her core. She thought her upline was perfect. We all know you think I'm perfect, Debbie. And she thinks she was perfect. and she loved the leadership format system. I mean, loved it. Okay. But she had one appointment next week. And let's say James was a cynic. He thought Hubert was full of it. He didn't like me, didn't believe half the manual, but he had 10 appointments next week. Who would have more success? James would. It would not matter that he was a son of a gun, or if he didn't like me, or if he wasn't following the system. If he had 10, I'm not talking, don't take it personal, but if the point, and you get the point, the point is, yes, believe in the system, but go act. And that action will create the knowledge that you need from that. And we're giving you got to plug in. If you plug into our system, if you go on 3 field training cells, good ones, and that you then go to our Wednesday calls, which was fantastic yesterday. Yesterday was just what we've always envisioned Wednesday call to be. It was all about concepts with interactions. People asking, what about this? What about that? And it was great. And then tonight we're going over the system in world-class form right here. And from this, understand if a person goes to those Wednesday calls and then plugs in as needed with the product provider training, you're going to get the training. Okay, you're going to get the training that's there. So my point is, action leads to results, which increases your belief in potential, which then gives you more belief and then more action. So it starts with action. Understand that it's the first human nature mistake that people make. The other one is this, okay? And most everybody feels this way. Make sure when you come in and understand, go back at the beginning and remember, I used the phone example. Debbie, do you even want to attempt the phone example from yesterday?
Yes, I used it today in my
Okay, give me the
startup.
phone example.
So I'm not going to say it as well as you did.
Just do your best.
But if you have, because I started a phone store. I had a phone store at one time. So if
remember.
you are going to sell phones, then what do you need?
You muted yourself, Debbie.
Did I?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Then what are you going to do first? You need to have you need to have a way to sell the phones. Where's your distribution going to be? And do you need to buy the phones first? Do you need to figure out who's going to sell them? And I did that when I started that business. I ordered a bunch of phones and looked at them sitting in my garage back in 2000. So I need distribution first. I don't say it as well as you do, but yes, I
You're
loved
making
it.
the point. Fantastic job. It's this. Look, if Jesse invented this phone and he says, oh my gosh, I have just invented the greatest phone in history. He now has 2 issues. One is he's going to need a bunch of phones to sell, but he's also needs to go get a contract with Costco or somebody to go sell the stores, to fill the phones. You would never go get 1 million phones with nobody to sell them, or you certainly wouldn't go get an order with Costco without having the phones. So both are important, right? When you get that new person to go, that's right. And when they say that, you need to say getting a license is getting the phones. Getting your team built is getting the Costco stores opened up. And that makes complete sense to people when they hear that. And so you let people know, oh, okay, that makes total sense. So now when somebody comes on board, we're going to simultaneously go get them their 3 people to join their company and then go get licensed. And that makes sense. So they understand why they're doing it. Okay. One of the other big mistakes that it's not a mistake, but it's one of the conclusions that we all jump to is that what I call the David McNamee principle. A lot of times I'll show you guys these pictures. And I'll even see if I can on the fly find this picture real quick. So just going to come back to it in a minute. HCI priority. There's my picture. I have a certain amount of pictures that I put over here that are my kind of my history pictures. What did I do with them? Sorry. I think it's right here. Many of you have seen the history pictures on here, okay? And when I went back and I knew that my team was going to take off, was right here. Can you see that as a big picture or is it still a little? You see it big? Okay,
yeah.
good. All right,
Yes.
in the middle, and down, Greg, this may help you remember. I don't know if you remember. But when I first finally put a team together. And remember, I had recruited some other leaders that really weren't successful. It probably was me not being ready, but also I had to go get a new group of leaders. And when I recruited this group, I knew these guys were ready. You could just see it in their eyes that they were ready. But the guy two over from me in the black tie was a guy named David McNamee. This guy's a total stud. He was probably, Michael Hopping was in the back. He was an oral surgeon, and the two of them were really sharp guys. Some of you may know Michael Hopping. He still floats around Atlanta, and Nancy Hughes beside me, that is Mike Hughes' sister-in-law. So that's kind of how, actually, a lot of you on this phone come from that lineage. You don't even know it, but Debbie and Zach and Kimberly, all you guys all come from that lady, one way or another, okay? But listen carefully to me on this. This guy, David McNamee, said, hey, he bought into the system. We went up to North Carolina and we recruited about 30 people, sharp people. And we probably didn't follow up with them as good as we could have, but we did our best. And 90 days later, there was about 2 of them that were left. And it really infuriated this guy because he's like, I can't deal with things that way. I'm a corporate guy. I got to have a structure. I've got to have, even a lot of things that we get frustrated with about, oh my gosh, you got to have systems. But this is what I learned, okay? Because he came back to me, he and his wife, who was a really sharp lady, and they met with me. They met with me in my office, and they said, Jody, we can't go through that again. I just can't see people come in and wasted efforts. I said, I understand. So he said, I'm going to go to Birmingham, and I'm a great trainer. I'm going to go recruit 10 people, good ones. I'm going to selectively find the good ones, as if we weren't finding the good ones before. And he says, I want to go find the good ones. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little plan in place, and we're going to train these guys exactly the way they need to be trained. And he did that. And what do you think happened? In 90 days, one of them was still alive. And I'm telling you, the system is the system is the system is the system. Does not mean that I do think we can keep 30, 40% of our people, long term. But the point being, I think you get is that human nature thinks that what happens is that we're the exception to the rule. Because Art Williams said it the best. He said, there has never been and never will be a test devised to tell you what's inside the heart of man. You don't know. And Kimberly and I and Gail, who both were in town today, did a phenomenal job. So proud of them. But they were there, and we met with two guys today. One of them was a bubbling, outgoing, good-looking guy, full of life, trying to build a business. And the other guy was not that. He was a successful guy, but kind of just a quiet guy. I mean, I don't know. You couldn't really read him. And it's easy to say, hey, what do you think? And I'm like, you know what? I've been around a long time to know. We'll find out. We did our part. It was a meeting. We did our job. We'll follow up with them and then live with the efforts. Okay. The last thing is this. The last thing apart is this, okay, guys? Just make sure you mute yourself there, guys. The last piece is this. Is that you've got to have the law of averages and the law of high numbers work for you. If you do not have enough efforts for your time, first of all, you got to have enough to compound. And because even if you have a great compound interest, if you only put in $2 2 years ago, it's not going to compound that much. So go out and have enough of an effort at some point in your career to have 5 or 6 good people that you recruit at the same time. I dare you. Because from that, the law of averages is going to tell you that out of those 5, 2 or 3 are going to be ready to go. And you will give your efforts time to compound. So you can't guess the future. Follow the system. All I'm telling you is if it's in the book, go do it. If it's not, you're making it up on your own, and you're going against history. You're going against human nature. How long have we been the way we are now? At least
Centuries.
ever how many years? For me, it's been 60 years. And if you believe that you lived before with God, you probably were screwed up then as you were wherever you came from. So God's been trying to change this for who knows how long. Your parents have been trying to change it for 38 years, James. And a few women along the way have tried to change it. And I've had wives try and change me. How's that working out for people? It ain't happening. We are what we are. People in their lives change at about a 10% variance both ways. You can get better, but you're not gonna, I mean, you are kind of who you are. And so to think we're going to recruit people and all of a sudden we're going to be the ones to go change everybody, it's comical. And so run the system. Can we run it tighter? Can you run it better? Absolutely. But trust the system. Use the law of numbers. Go reread the manual. All of you guys need to be living in the manual right now. If something's brand new, go get off to a fast start and then read the manual. But those of you that have been on board for a minute, go read the manual. Great things come from it, okay? Now then, that was fun. Hopefully, there's any questions on that. Because we all need a refresher course on human nature, because all of us, and I mean everybody, from me to you, think we know more than we know. And then we got to remember, oh yeah, I forgot. It's that way, you know? Yeah, and I'll think I've come up with some great new idea, some great new system, a way to do something, and realize there's a reason that the system is the way that it is. Okay. Now then, let's go in and talk about making money, profitability. Okay. From the time you start in your business, and if there's questions on this as we go, I want to get the answers to you. Okay. From the time, but only about this subject from now on. Just for right now, all we're talking about is building a base shop. In every previous company, and this is getting ready to happen at HGI, I'm just giving you fair warning, okay? And for 90% of you, that's really the only way you can do the business anyway, because you don't have a big team. There's a couple of people on here that have decent sized teams and they make money off pretty good overruns. But even with all of us, even with James and myself and Mauricio and Zach and Kimberly and Greg to a degree, we still ought to pretend like we don't have teams. For what I'm telling you now, we have no teams. We are on here as an RMD. I'm not here as the CEO, MD, nobody, all titles are stripped away. You are just here as a gonna be RMD or already are an RMD, okay? So an RMD is a regional marketing director. That's what you want to get to in our contract. And we're going to talk about this in a few minutes. But at that point, you become a broker. There's all kinds of things that go with this. I brought things up yesterday to Debbie, and I'm going to talk to you in a minute about why you want to be in the base shop. Because I'm a better leader because I'm in the base shop. Because I went over something with Debbie yesterday, because she's in my base shop, that I hadn't gone over in a while, but I wouldn't have thought of it had I not been doing base shop things. For example, whenever you have in this business, you build residuals and you build an override stream. Did you know those are willable? That if you die, those go to your family? That's a selling point. We don't go over that a lot of times. I mean, you know, the person who recruited Zach and Kimberly, she passed away, but their family's still been receiving compensation overrides from us. And so that's a big deal, you know, and those are cool things, but you got to be in the base shop to remember those things. So, but when you become an RMD, you become vested. RMD is important in the equity play. Why? You need to be an RMD by the time that happens, because that qualifies you fully in that process. So people need to become RMDs over between now and next July. Worst case for them to be able to get into the equity position. Okay. So let's start over. I'm going to talk to like the brand newest person, the certain person I know is new, so that you understand this. Okay. Whenever you come into this business, you know that you can make money by selling product, whatever product happens to be. And also you can make money by going out and, building a team and making an override off those teams. Okay. That's when you create that leverage opportunity. That's when you go from ESBI, the whole mythical thing that Kiyosaki built a life off of, writing a book about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and in it talking about how people need to go from the left to the right, which the left column, as you remember, is where you're an employee and you make money from what you do. And if you're an entrepreneur, but you're by yourself, you're a solopreneur, which is what most entrepreneurs are, and you have no leverage. It's just you. And the thing about being an entrepreneur is that if you're not going to make big money with it, it's not worth doing. It really is. If you're going to make $75,000 a year, it's easier to do it at a job than it is just to do it as an entrepreneur. But 75 and above, it sings, really being an entrepreneur. So the base shop is this, it's the position in our business. It's a 78% commission. We just got that bump to 88% if you qualify. And this is a big deal, okay? If I come to you at your job tomorrow and said you get the 10% raise, you'd be going crazy. You take off the weekend and get stone cold drunk, you do something nutty, okay? Because that's a big deal. But that's what we're talking about here tonight, okay? In every previous company, I started to say this a minute ago, there was the phase of the base shop builders, the era of the base shop builders. And that is where the real good people went out and built leadership teams. Okay. Like right now, I'm vowing to you, committing to you, and you can come back and say, hey, Jody, I don't see you on that leaders bulletin. I'm committing to you in the base shop category to go lead from the front. Go be as good as I can be in that category. Every single one of us need to go do that. But a base shop is everyone that's on your team that is not under another RMD. Now you have a base shop, but for the case of what I'm talking about is this: you want to become an RMD, because once you become an RMD, and that takes you what? It takes you $50,000 worth of business in 90 days, basically. Building a team of around, I think it's 4 to 6 wide, whatever the numbers are. If you go do that, that's basically, if every sale is 3,600, that's about 12 sales. 12 or 15 sales in 90 days in your base shop, you're an RMD, okay? And RMD, you're at 78% contract as your base contract. So you want to get to that position. That position is why we have this. It says RMD, the ultimate business position. By the way, this flyer is where? It's in your back office. Go in your back office, pull that up. We are a company that delivers, HGIS. And the reason that is because the base shop builders, they're the ones who make the most money. I've watched people running a good base shop with 25 licensed people make $1 million a year. Let's let that sink in what I just said to you. I've seen people with small numbers, because listen, your dream is to one day, think about this. How can you have financial freedom today and financial independence in the future? Let's talk about what that means. When I say financial freedom means that you don't have to worry about money. It means that there's oxygen. You don't have that feeling of, oh my God, how am I going to pay for this? Hope the lights come on when I turn on the switch when I get home. How, those issues. We don't want you to go to the restaurant and read the menu from the right to the left. We want you to read it from the left to the right. If you don't know what that means, if you read it from the right to the left, it means you're looking at the prices. And you get the chicken dish with the salad, because you're always looking on a date for the cheapest thing you can find, right? And so you let the girlfriend or whatever buy something expensive, and you find out the certain cheapest special you can find on the right.
Jody, you've had a lot of experience doing this, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I know my ways. But you know what, guys? Listen, we want to get, for most of you guys, if you make 10, 20,000 a month, it'll be like, I'm okay. I can breathe. Things aren't killing me. Then get your financial independence means you ain't got to worry about it anymore. It's done. You don't have to worry about money the rest of your life. And then there is the equity opportunities that take that generation. How do you get to where there's lifestyle money? Drive a decent car, have a nice house, make some money, do a few nice things. That is base shop money. Okay, I want you to hear me carefully. That is base. You can do that with a base shop. If most of you understood how close that you really were, to making money, you would be astounded. I'm going to make that hopefully clear for you as we go through here today. Greg, anything you want to add thus far?
No, Jody, I think you're absolutely on point. You are nailing it, brother. And I couldn't agree more with everything that you're saying. And this equity play that we've got here, I'm glad that you're really taking the time to break that down. And I don't think a lot of people realize that they needed to be at that RMD position to participate. And so that's a big deal. So I hope everybody knows exactly where they are and exactly where they need to be in order to get that RMD promotion. And certainly with this 10% bonus that we've got now, we've got a chance to do some really major things, and very, very excited, man.
So you saw the base shop era during
Oh,
ACI or WFG.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
both. Yeah, we
yeah.
witnessed it, especially if you look at somebody like a Swan Win. My gosh, brother, I was talking to somebody about him the other day, and just that perpetual focus and birthing out new leader after new leader out of that base shop. I don't think there's anybody other than your father who's even come close to mastering it quite like Swan Win has. And that's
No,
why he made a
absolutely.
fortune.
I know, no, absolutely. You're exactly right. All right. Does anybody have a question as to what a base shop is? And I promise you, there's no bad answers. Just raise your hand or ask me if you want me to explain what it is again. It's your chance, guys. I'm going off in some assumption that everyone here knows what I mean with a base shop. Well, I'm going to assume you guys are scared to raise your hand. Oh, Nicole, thank you, Nicole. Thank you. And Shirley and some others did. Thank you. Okay, good job. And let me explain to this one more time, okay?
But do you
All,
want to, they raised their hand, right? You see that?
yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw the hand raised, yes. And guys, okay, so let me walk through here real quick. Let's go with James for a second, okay? James, who on this call, first of all, who on this call is in my hierarchy?
Who on this
Who's
call is
on
in
my
your,
team?
well, everyone's on
Everybody.
your team. Everyone's
Everyone
on your
is. I
team,
mean,
but who's personal and
every,
direct to you that's not an
hang
RMD?
on, hang on. And just so you're clear, and I don't want you to get lost in terms. I know people get lost in terms, okay? Here, my team is everybody you see here, okay? One form or another, it could, because as James was saying, you can trace it through the lineage. I recruited James, and James has Sergio team and Rory team and all that. And I recruited Greg, and Greg's got his team. I recruited the Odie's for this sake. I mean, you get it. So but that's all their RMDs, okay? James is not in my base shop. Zach and Kimberly are not in my base shop. Sheena's not in my base shop. Greg Smith's not in my base shop. Let me see who else we got on there. Mauricio and Peter are not in my base shop. Okay. The reason is they are RMDs and they have their base shops. Some of you are in some of those people's base shops. I just mentioned. Okay. If you go build a team, once somebody becomes an RMD, they have their own base shops. When I say a base shop, it is the people that are under me that are not under another base shop. So, for example, Nicole, Debbie, Crystal, Charlisa, Keisha, and Dara, and Armando, the ones that I see are in my base shop. Just for the sake of what I'm trying to teach you about, okay? Now, why are they in my base shop? Tell me again.
Because their direct upline isn't an RMD yet.
Exactly. They are not, there's not another RMD between them and me. There you go. This is a better way to say it. From where they're at, it does not mean Dara and Nicole are part of Debbie's team, but Debbie's in my base shop, and I'm the next RMD. Therefore, they're in my base shop. Does that make sense? That's how it works. So when you'll want to become an RMD, and that group of people that are under you, that is your profitability core. Okay, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples here. So first of all, I want you to write down some of these notes here because I think these are very powerful. Why do you want to be in a base shop? First of all, it should become the source of 90% of your income till you become an SEFC. You don't want to count on overrides from I should look at everything I get as an override on James, Sheena. By the way, if somebody, and don't answer this, James, Mike, or Kimberly, or James, Greg or Kimberly, don't answer this question. If James is a first generation RMD to me, and Sheena's a first generation RMD to me, and say Kimberly's a first generation RMD to me, and Greg is, what is my compensation every time someone in their main shop closes a sale? What do I make?
15%.
Robert, that was you, right? Yes.
Yes,
that's
sir.
exactly right. 15%. They are first generation RMDs to me, so I make 15% of that. Okay. Now then, remember that number for a second. Now then, if in your case, well, Robert, Greg recruited Omar, and Omar's an RMD, and you're in his base shop. So my override on second generation is, I think, 7.5%. Okay. So here's what I want to teach you guys: the power of a base shop. Okay. In your base shop, every 2.5 sales that Greg does, or that James does, or that Kimberly does, equals 1 direct sale in my base shop. So they have to do 3 sales for me to make the same money. Okay. I'm talking about you making money. Okay. And understand this: the more people that you have, like give you an example. I'm in my position. I make 15% off of James, 7.5% off of James or Rod, and then how much is third generation? 4%. So then I make 4% off of who is the biggest producer around, which is Rory, right? So for me to make a living, now just to give you an example of this, if Rory Douglas does $10,000 worth of business, how much money do I make?
$400.
$400. That does not pay for this room's light bill. So if you're trying just to live off of, it's a good room. You know, it's not. It's so. Listen to me carefully. If you are going to make money off of that, how many sales is 10,000? It's 4. It's probably 3 or 4 sales, 5 sales maybe. So I don't want to wait for 5 sales from Rory to pay $400. That is my gravy. Understand that overrides and other generations become your extra money. That becomes your have some fun money. Okay. Does everybody follow me on this? Because I want you to get what I'm telling you. It's very important. Because I want you to get how you can out earn some of the people I've talked about. And James doesn't mind me saying this, Kimberly doesn't, and I know Sheena doesn't, or Greg. Just because they're RMDs, and if they don't go do a whole lot, even though Mauricio's got a good team, if they don't go do something, if they don't go to the base shop, we can kick their butt on cash flow. I watched Ragu go from this far apart to Aki to be about this far apart. Because base shop. So I want you to know this is exciting for you new people on here. This is a big deal for you as we go through here, okay? Also, with your base shop, you'll be more with your people every day. You'll know firsthand issues and challenges. Heaven knows I keep my hand on the pulse. I know what's going on with these new guys. And also keep my skills sharp and confident, because if I'm doing presentations, that's why I love to do presentations. Every time I do a BOP, it makes me better for you. I mean, it's like today I was able to do a really good job for Kimberly and Gail, because I've done so many of them. I was able to come up with some things and say some things in a way. She's like, I hadn't heard you say that in a while. But it was very clear. It was just about, I made a point, for example, guy was in the health insurance business and he was looking at this. I said, bottom line is we all know that the life insurance business is a cash flow business. There's nowhere you can make more money in 1 year front off of a deal than you can in the life insurance business. I learned to say that because I've given 20 presentations, and I think that's a great point. It keeps you out there. If you're building new people, you know, if I just call up and go, hey, James, how you doing? Go get them. Roy, how you doing? I won't grow as a person. I got to be in the trenches. I got to know what's going on. And new people, they're maddening, they're frustrating because they ask crazy questions and you got to hear it 10 times. I love that. That makes me better. It's also where you'll build your strongest personal relationships and you're living with your people. Now let me show you what I'm talking about here, okay? I'm going to show you what an example on this, but then also want to make sure that you see just how exciting this new bonus is, okay? Can you see that? Okay. Big, okay, here we go. Now, as an RMD, you're at 78%. What does that mean? Let's walk through this. Tell me what somebody other than the ones we're saying. If you're at 78% on your, what does your contract level mean? Adriana, what does that mean?
Then I'm an R&D and that I have a team and that I make
That's
78%.
right, but you're at 78%, but what does that 78% mean? You make 78% of what?
70% of everything that I sell.
There you go. If she produces a piece of business, she makes 78% of the compensation. And then it also means that's her override position. In other words, if she has someone on her team like James at 60%, she'd make an 18% override, which is that spread. Okay. Then also, if she goes, so think about that. If she recruits James in her base shop, she makes 18%. That's pretty strong minimum. But what's the first position you come in at? 45%, right?
Correct.
So if she goes and recruits James and he's at 45% and she's at 78, that's a 33% override. That means Rory would have to go write $100,000 of business for me to make the same thing off of one sale off of somebody in my base shop. All you need to get out of this is to go get new people. Now watch this real quick. Thank you, Adriana. Now watch this for a second, guys. If you look over here and you said, I'm just going to go worry about my RMDs. I'm going to make money over my RMDs. Let's just say you have 5 sales at first generation RMD. That means that your James's and Kimberly's and whoever your first generations are will that would pay if you had 5 sales of first generation RMDs, you'd make $34,000 a year. Okay, now watch this. Let's say if I'm in my base shop, how many sales did I say? Same 5 sales. How much was it before? Let's go back on this math, guys. Yeah. 5 here, 34,000. I'm gonna change. I'm changing it to 33 because I could look at this. So it's 34,000 first generation RMD. If I'm in my base shop and I've got 5 sales that are with brand new associates, 75,000.
75,000.
So you tell me that's the same sales. And by the way, that's off of the first generation. Let's go to Rory, who's third generation to me. If he does 5 sales, $9,000. So am I thankful for that? Am I thankful for sales that people down in his teams? Absolutely, because that's going to be my long-term money. But I want you to understand how much money is in this. Think about this for a second. What is our total payout? 120% or whatever it is? How much of that's in the base shop?
88.
So why in the world would you leave all that money on the table? So I want you guys to understand. Let's just go back here for a second, okay? This is exciting stuff. if you just get it set up to where you go 4 sales a month, which is two, let's just say, and I'm gonna give reality. You go close 2 sales that you find, and you recruit a few people, and you might be able to close a sale on them. That means you're closing 4 sales a month. Okay, and you commit to that. And Kimberly and I are going to talk about in a minute what the minimum standard is of the company. The minimum expectation is of what the company is. And this is something Aki's a team adhered to a while back, and it's something that tonight we're going to put down this expectation of doctrine, okay? And I'll show you why in a second. If you close 4 sales a month as an RMD at the base contract, 78%, and then you have a team to where you have gone out now and you're gonna, let's just give a realistic example that you're gonna have. We should say 10, but I will put 5 on this example. Let's just say, if you just, I want to start thinking a little bit bigger. Well, we figured this out earlier though, Kimberly. What did we say? I think it was, how many sales is it? 4 and 5. It was 5. There you go. There's a reason, method to my madness of why we did this. Okay, now listen, guys. If you close a sale a week and you have a team of 4 people that close 1 sale each, I mean, my goodness, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm sorry. I got to be honest on this too, because that is not the right number.
I was gonna tell you, I was like, oh.
No, I gotta give you realistic expectations because I know we're talking very real. I knew that number was high. Okay, so here you go. So what I changed, by the way, was we had shown an example earlier of a bigger sale team. We put that their average sale was 500 a month, and that's not going to be your average sale. So I brought it back down to reality. Okay. So here's my point: is if you close a sale a week and your whole team, your whole world closes 5. Why do you think we put this number on here, Greg? Any idea? Because if you do that, that equals 30,000 in premium.
Sorry, I was getting off mute, Jody. Yep.
No, that's okay. But I was just going to tell you, it's 30. It's, if you did the math on it, it's 30,000 premium.
Switch it
In
to
other words-
monthly.
What's that?
Switch your time period to monthly, and I think it'll show it.
It doesn't.
Yeah, and then that base shop does those 10 recruits, Jody, then you're qualifying for that additional 10% every single month.
There you go,
know,
guys.
and that's where we want to be.
Then listen, that's what I'm telling you. Okay, and the way just so you'll know, so that when you show people this, you can do the math. If you assume every sales 4 or 3,600, which is 300 a month, 4 times 3,600 is what? Somebody do me some math.
14.4.
14.4, and then 5 times 3,600 is what? It should be 15 something.
18.
So it's over 30,000. So if you do a sale a week here, or 4 sales, whatever, and your base shop does 5, and you have the 10 recruits a month, which we're talking about, you then qualify for a 10% additional compensation on that. So the company will then stroke you a check for $3,000. Bonus, not bonus, extra commission every month. And that's, by the way, it's 30,000. You have to get it issued during the next month. So it's writing good business. If only 50% of yours issues, then you got to do 50% more business, which shouldn't be, but I'm just telling you. So you're clear. If you're an RMD and you do $30,000 worth of business in your, which would be, in this case, 10 sales or less, you qualify for a $33,000 or $36,000 pay increase. And by the way, that's minimums. Because if you go to your standards, right now our standard is 2 and 10, which means the expectation for the company is that every licensed person does a minimum of 2 recruits and $10,000 of business every month. That should be your minimum standard. And if that is the case, then I can expect my team If my team goes and does, there's no reason in the world that it is, and I know this drives my dad crazy because he expects 25, they used to spit back. You'd be a baby fish he would throw back if you only did 50 sales a month in a base shop. So let's set a standard as a 25 recruit a month base shop, a 25 sell a month base shop. You do 20, you do 4, your team does 20. First of all, that's going to pay you $267,000. But then also, now that we did 16 sales at real quick. 16 sales. It's 57,000 and then 14 on top of that, 60. And guess what, guys? Listen to this. If you do that, you know what your bonus is monthly? Six, somebody needs to be there. It's $6,000. Am I wrong? Add that up. That's 14 sales. 14 per, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong. You do 4. It's 4 times 3,600. We did this earlier. If you take, just so you'll know what I'm doing, I'm taking your number of sales and I'm multiplying it times 3,600, and that's 14,400. Okay. That's that amount of, that's how much premium you did. That means now 20 sales times 3,600 equals 72,000. Do you see where I got that? Please tell me if you don't. It's real important. Because what I'm doing is this, okay? I'm telling you, if you did 4 sales and you multiply that times 3,600, that tells you that you did 14,400 premium. If these guys did 20 sales and you multiply that times 3,600, that's $72,000.
And that's just
So
straight
now-
life with no diversification.
That's
Right.
just straight life. So now I'm doing 72 plus 14, 400 equals 86,000.
And Jody, if you're a marketing director
No,
out
hold
there, you do that for 1 month, you're now at that RMD, you know, because I know we're
Absolutely,
putting a
but
lot of
listen-
focus on RMD, but
We don't, you know, you're right. An R&D, literally, if you know how to get there and you got a full plan on it, there's no reason in the world that you can't get there in the next 60 days. I just want to bring it to your attention. I want to move it from some thing that sits out here that I might get to one day to you going, holy heck, what did this guy just say? Listen to what I just told you. If you did this, the 25 sell a month base shop, do you know how much the monthly bonus would be? 10% of 86,000. You'd be making an extra $100,000 a year off what the company just provided to us.
that's incredible.
That's you create, that fires me up. I knew what I was doing. I mean, and not only that, if you go back off what James did, or what Greg just said, you can get there quick, but also the amount of money that you're going to be making if you're at 60%. You go back down here, and you're doing here we go, 6,000 pounds. I like that 6,000% contract. Let me see. There we go. If you're at 60%, if you have a 15% override on your team, and you're doing a sale a week, and you've got a team that's doing 10 sales as you're working your way up, like he just said, you're at a 6-figure income right there as an MD. Guys, I want you to understand the company has taken a 10% pay increase and dropped it on us. If somebody's giving away money, you ought to be in the habit of taking it. And the base shop in and of itself is a cash flow machine. Literally, you understand what I just told you is that, let's just come back here. I'm just gonna put that there, okay? A 25 sale a month base shop with average numbers And you would have probably one piece of diversification along the way here, to be realistic. You'd make $282,000. Plus you'd be making another $100,000 in a bonus. That means a 25 sale a month base shop, 31 sales here total. Actually, let me go back here and make it what we said before. Just so I can get it. 25 sale a month base shop is going to give you a $250,000 income plus another $100,000 bonus. That means that's going to pay you as much as if you were a CEO of a company, or if you're, a doctor or something along those lines. That is absolutely incredible. So any questions on that for tonight? We're right at 9. We got guests started here for the mob, so I want to let them in a minute. Hopefully it's fired you up as much as it's fired us up. Any comments from someone that's newer in the company? Hopefully we've done found them all. It was that big of a thing. All right, Danny, what do you think, man? I don't know if he's there still. There you are, Danny. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I know you're saying something, Danny, but we can't hear you on there. Charlotte, Crystal, what do you think about what you heard tonight?
Well, I think all of it makes sense. I've heard it before. I think it's just more so a numbers game, and essentially planning out and strategizing and holding yourself accountable to those standards in order for that to be the outcome of what you said. Everything says.
What do you think about the 10% pay increase? You excited about that?
I'm very excited about that. There's nothing to not be excited about.
Well, there you go.
So I'm definitely excited about that for sure. I'm also excited about other people being able to just leverage the system in place, like I said, looking that's just how I see it.
Good. What about you, Sheena? I'll let you have the last word here.
Extremely excited, particularly since Hubert is so kind to pay us extra for doing the same work he asked us to do before. I think it's incredible.
Oh, that's it. That's exactly what was Aki's most eloquent moment to me, was whenever he got that big check. He said, so basically you're giving me, $3.5, almost $4 million check for doing what I was already doing anyway. And it's just staggering. And now on top of that, this is immediately tangible, guys. You're talking about, you can impact your family with a 10% raise right now. And just so everybody's clear and have expectations, the money on the May production will come at the end of June. Because what happens is at the beginning of June, they'll look back, see how much was literally issued, and from there on, it's a monthly thing. So it goes from there. So thanks, guys.